Welcome to this series, Rituals of Resistance. This is episode 1, Ancient Roots of Empowerment. 6,000 years ago, under the glow of a full moon, a tribal drum echoed through the savannas. A small group of people stood in a circle, their shadows dancing to the rhythm of their ancestors. Their leader raised his arms, calling upon ancient spirits to guide them. This was more than just a ceremony. It was a whisper of rebellion, a pact between generations, a prayer for justice. As the moon climbed higher, their chants grew louder, carrying tales of bravery, resilience, and dreams of freedom. Unbeknownst to them, their rituals would echo through time, shaping the destinies of millions. Their stories would become the foundation of African spirituality, a testament to the indomitable spirit that refused to be silenced. But let's start at the beginning. Let's travel back in time before revolutions were fought with weapons. They were whispered through rituals. From the depths of the Sahara to the peaks of the Atlas Mountains, across the vast landscapes of Africa, there was more than just sand and sun. There was history, culture, and most importantly, a spirit of empowerment that thrived in the hearts of its people. Now let's set the scene. It's the year 500 BC, the Nile River, a lifeline of ancient Egypt, glistens under the sun. In the bustling city of Memphis, the capital of the Old Kingdom, King Unas has just passed the sacred cobra staff to his son, signifying the transfer of power. The Great Sphinx stands guard over the horizon, witnessing this moment of continuity. This wasn't just a change of rulers. It was a ritual, a deeply rooted tradition designed to ensure order and stability. Fast forward to the kingdom of Kush in present-day Sudan, where Queen Amenarina surveys her domain. Her gaze, strong and unwavering, reflects the legacy of her predecessors. She holds the royal scepter, a symbol of her lineage, a connection to the past that inspires her rule. Whether in the royal courts of Egypt or the majestic lands of Kush, these rituals of transition weren't just formalities. They were threads in the tapestry of African spirituality, weaving together the past, the present, and the future. Each ritual was a story, a lesson, a promise whispered from one generation to the next. So why were these rituals so important? Why did they go beyond mere ceremonies? Well, imagine if someone handed you a priceless artifact, something that represented not just material wealth, but cultural heritage and historical significance. How would you treat it? With care, respect, and perhaps a touch of awe? These rituals were akin to receiving such an heirloom. They were expressions of African spirituality that had endured the test of time. Think about the passing of the cobra staff. It wasn't just a change of hands. It was a symbolic acknowledgement of the continuity of life, a reminder that death was not an end, but a transition. Similarly, the transfer of the scepter in Kush symbolized more than just political succession. It represented the enduring spirit of leadership, a legacy that resonated with each queen and king who held it. These rituals were more than ceremonies. They were acts of remembrance. They kept the stories of ancestors alive, ensuring their wisdom and experiences were not forgotten, but carried forward. By reliving these rituals, the people of ancient Africa paid homage to their past, honoring those who had shaped their history and inspired their present. What made these rituals truly special was their deep connection to the land. Just as the Nile nourished the soil of Egypt, these rituals nourished the souls of its people. Places like the Valley of the Kings became not just burial grounds, but sanctuaries of remembrance. Here pharaohs, including the legendary Tutankhamun, found their eternal rest. The rituals surrounding their burials were not merely religious rites. They were celebrations of life, a way to send off the pharaohs into the afterlife with dignity and respect. It was a similar reverence for life and death that characterized the kingdom of Kush. Rituals in Kush, like the use of sacred bowls during ceremonies, reflected a deep understanding of nature and the role it played in their spiritual beliefs. They believed that these rituals could bridge the gap between the physical and spiritual realms, allowing the living to communicate with their ancestors. But African spirituality didn't just flourish in the kingdoms. It thrived in everyday life. The Cuba people in the Democratic Republic of the Congo had a tradition known as Mfumu, where a ritual dance marked significant life events. The movements of the dance were more than just steps. They were stories, narratives that celebrated birth, marriage, or the successful completion of a challenging journey. In essence, these rituals were the heartbeat of African life. They were the moments that bound communities together, creating a sense of belonging and shared identity. Every step, every chant, every symbol woven into the fabric of daily life. They were not just traditions. They were threads in the rich tapestry of African culture, each telling a tale of resilience, faith, and the unbreakable bonds of community. But let's talk about healing. Life in ancient Africa wasn't always easy. There were droughts, famines, and battles for land and resources. When tragedies struck, when communities were torn apart by the horrors of war, who did they turn to? Not kings or priests, but their rituals. Imagine yourself in the kingdom of Axum after a devastating battle. Homes are burnt, fields are abandoned, and the people are broken, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. What can they do to pick up the pieces? What can they do to find solace in the face of despair? The answer lies in the rituals of healing. In the kingdom of the Dogon in Mali, rituals were the balm for the wounded soul. After a traumatic event, they would gather in a sacred space, perform ceremonies to appease ancestral spirits and seek guidance. This wasn't just about appeasing spirits. It was about reconnecting with a sense of order and balance. It was a way to say, even in the darkest of times, we are not alone. Across the continent, rituals served as a bridge between grief and acceptance. The Zulu people in South Africa had a tradition of ululating, a form of rhythmic wailing during funerals. This might seem like an expression of sorrow, but it was also a celebration of life, a way to honor the dead and welcome their souls into the afterlife. These healing rituals were not confined to individuals. They were practiced on a community level. For instance, after an epidemic, the Himba people in Namibia would perform rituals to cleanse their villages. They would use traditional medicines, herbs, and prayers to purify their homes and drive out any lingering negative energies. So why were these healing rituals so vital? Because they addressed not just the physical wounds, but the emotional and spiritual scars left by conflict and tragedy. They provided a structured way to process trauma, a path to move from despair to hope. They were the cornerstone of community resilience, helping people not just survive, but thrive in the face of adversity. Our journey through ancient African rituals wouldn't be complete without acknowledging their profound impact on cultural identity. African societies weren't just about kings and kingdoms. They were about people with unique languages, customs, and beliefs. These rituals weren't just ceremonies. They were acts of cultural preservation, keeping traditions alive across generations. Take, for example, the Dogon people in Mali, renowned for their intricate masks and vibrant festivals. During ceremonies, they would don these masks, each with its own symbolism, and perform dances that told stories of their history, values, and beliefs. These masks weren't just costumes. They were embodiments of their cultural heritage. The same was true for the Yoruba people in Nigeria. Their shrines, often dedicated to deities like Shango or Ogun, were more than just places of worship. They were repositories of cultural knowledge, housing artifacts and relics that symbolized their religious beliefs and cultural identity. And then there were the festivals. Imagine being transported to the Kingdom of Congo, now part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, during the Nkongo ceremony. The air is filled with the rhythm of drums and the vibrant hues of traditional attire. People from different villages come together, not just to celebrate, but to reaffirm their cultural bonds. Why were these cultural rituals so important? Because they provided a sense of belonging, a shared identity that connected people across regions and kingdoms. They ensured that languages, beliefs, and customs weren't lost with time, but were celebrated and passed down to future generations. These rituals were the lifeblood of African culture, keeping traditions alive and ensuring that each new generation felt rooted in their heritage. So today, as we reflect on these ancient traditions, let's remember that they're not just relics of the past. They're blueprints for the future. They teach us about gathering, healing, resisting, and celebrating. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, disconnected from our roots, these rituals remind us of the power of community, the strength of cultural identity, and the importance of staying connected to our spiritual heritage. In a world that often tries to pull us apart, these rituals offer a path to unity. They show us that through shared experiences, through the rhythms of drums and the echoes of ancient chants, we can build bridges of understanding, empathy, and connection. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. Remember, these aren't just ancient traditions. They're timeless lessons. As we bring this episode to a close, I invite you to continue the conversation. Share your thoughts, experiences, and insights in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this episode with others who might find inspiration in these ancient wisdoms. This is a production by Ubuntu Mind, where spirit meets strategy. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected to your roots, and embrace the power of ritual in your life. Remember, your story is part of a rich tapestry that connects you to countless others. Keep it real, be authentic, and stay empowered. And above all, keep the spirit of ancient wisdom alive in your journey. Thank you, and until next time.